Greetings. We are excited to introduce our online e-courses, designed to teach entrepreneurial skills to handcraft women as part of the KA 220 Project UGO. We are a team of 5 organizations, including Ageria Desarrollo Social, Impact Circles, Aquilia, Effectus Group, and MV International, working towards empowering women in the craft industry. This e-course is a part of Module 4, where we focus on sustainable finance and sponsorship. Specifically, we delve into gender equality. Gender equality has become one of the most important topics on the agenda of the European institutions, which show a clear commitment to achieve real equality. For this, gender mainstreaming is one of the most important strategies to be followed by states and institutions that want to establish gender equality in their policies. In this lesson, we will learn about the most important legislation on equality and the resources available to the European Union to achieve it. Thank you for joining us in this exciting journey. Topic 3.1 Gender Equality, Conceptualization. Being treated fairly is a basic right in the European Union. It is illegal to discriminate against a person on the basis of sex, age, disability, racial or ethnic origin, religion, belief, or sexual orientation. Equality between women and men is one of the objectives of the European Union. Over the years, legislation, jurisprudence, and the modifications of the treaties have contributed to consolidate this principle, as well as its application in the European Union. But what is gender equality? Let's see some definitions and characteristics to take into account. According to the United Nations, gender equality, besides being a fundamental human right, is essential to achieve peaceful societies, with full human potential and sustainable development. Achieving gender equality and empowering women and girls is the unfinished business of our time, and the greatest human rights challenge in our world. UN Women, the United Nations entity for gender equality and women's empowerment, highlights the following: gender equality refers to the equal rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of women and men and girls and boys. Equality does not mean that women and men will become the same, but that women's and men's rights, responsibilities, and opportunities will not depend on whether they are born male or female. Equality between women and men is seen both as a human rights issue and as a precondition for, an indicator of, sustainable people-centered development. For more information, visit the official page of UN Women. Topic 3.2 Brief Historical Tour. Let's start this historical tour of women's rights by talking about the International Labour Organization. Convention 100 on Equality in Employment and Occupation, 1951, guaranteeing that women and men receive the same remuneration for equal work, establishing fixed remuneration rates without discrimination based on sex. States must guarantee equal pay between women and men in the public sector and favor it in the private sector. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, in its Article 2, applies all rights and freedoms equally to men and women and prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. These freedoms and rights include equal pay for equal work, the right to health, and the right to an education for all. The Convention on the Eliminations of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, 1979, constitutes the international framework for the rights of women and girls. It contains 30 articles where the different types of violence are defined. Istanbul Convention. The Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence was adopted by the Council of Europe Committee of Ministers on April 7, 2011. It was opened for signature on May 11, 2011 on the occasion of the 121st session of the Committee of Ministers in Istanbul. It entered into force on August 1, 2014. To learn more about the history of women's rights, visit the following page. Topic 3.3 Gender equality is a fundamental topic in the European institutions. Although Europe has advanced legislation on gender equality, as CEDAW, Istanbul Convention, or national legislation, the truth is that real equality is still a long way off. If we focus on the workplace, the wage gap in Europe is still at 14%, which means that women earn on average 14% less per hour than men. Women are overrepresented in relatively low-paying sectors such as care and education. The so-called glass ceiling leads to underrepresentation in management positions. In December 2021, the Council of Europe agreed on its position on a draft legislative act on pay transparency that will help fight current pay discrimination at work and eliminate the gender pay gap. Gender equality strategy achievements and key areas for action. Achievements in gender equality. Although inequalities still exist, the EU has made significant progress in gender equality over the last decades. This is the result of equal treatment legislation. Gender mainstreaming, that means integration of the gender perspective into all other policies. Specific measures for the advancement of women. Gender Equality Strategy 2020 to 2025. Strategy presents policy objectives and actions to make significant progress by 2025 towards a gender-equal Europe. Annual Report on Gender Equality. Topic 3.4 European Union Resources to Achieve Gender Equality. Gender Equality Strategy 2020 to 2025. The key principles for this strategy are: ending sex-based violence, challenging gender stereotypes, closing the gender gap within the labor market, attain equal participation across different sectors, tackle the gender pay and pension gap, tackle the gender care gap, attain a gender balance in decision-making and politics. European Institute for Gender Equality. European Institute for Gender Equality works to make gender equality a reality in the EU and beyond. To do this, it offers research, data and good practices while preparing studies and statistics on the subject in the EU. Council of Europe member states have made strong commitments to the effective realization of gender equality agenda both through the implementation of standards and through measures and activities in 6 priority areas. Topic 3.5 Legislation on Equality, CEDAW. It would not be until 1979, with the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, that gender equality in all areas was established as a main point for all states and their public policies. Article 2.a Consecrate, if they have not yet done so, in their national constitutions and in any other appropriate legislation the principle of equality of men and women and ensure by law or other appropriate means the practical realization of that principle. Article 2.e Take all appropriate measures to eliminate discrimination against women practiced by any person, organization or company. It constitutes the international framework for the rights of women and girls. It contains 30 articles where the different types of violence are defined. By accepting the Convention, states commit themselves to undertake a series of measures to end discrimination against women in all forms, including to incorporate the principle of equality of men and women in their legal system, abolish all discriminatory laws, and adopt appropriate ones prohibiting discrimination against women. To establish tribunals and other public institutions to ensure the effective protection of women against discrimination. To ensure elimination of all acts of discrimination against women by persons, organizations or enterprises. More information? Visit the official page of UN Women regarding CEDAW. Topic 3.6 Legislation on Equality. Istanbul Convention. The Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Sexist Violence is a convention of the Council of Europe that aims to combat violence against women. It was presented in Istanbul in 2011 and has been in force in Europe since 2014. By 2022, it has been signed by 45 countries and ratified by 37. It is the first binding instrument at the European level on violence against women and is considered the most comprehensive and far-reaching international treaty on combating violence against women. Recognizes violence against women as a violation of human rights and addresses violence against women through measures aimed at preventing violence, protecting victims and prosecuting perpetrators. The Convention contemplates as a crime all forms of violence against women. This implies that states must introduce these crimes into their legal systems. What types of violence against women are included in the Convention? Physical, psychological, sexual violence, including rape, female genital mutilation, forced marriage, harassment, forced abortion, and forced sterilization. Visit the official website of the Council of Europe to learn more about the Istanbul Convention. Thank you for watching our e-course on the topic of gender equality. We appreciate your interest in expanding your knowledge in this area. If you are eager to dive deeper into this subject, we invite you to explore our additional resources.